As the channel subscriber counts continue to grow, we're getting incredibly close to hitting 2,000 subs. So to commemorate this, we're going to turn our 1,000 sub special into the 2,000 sub special, or near enough that. I think it's currently at 1749. So we're going to be returning to our extremely budget roots and a true testament to value with the £1 PC build. Now this video was certainly a challenge. I mean, we needed all of these parts for £1, so we had to buy used, as usual. We got a bundle of untested and likely unworking parts for 75p. This included an early LGA 775 motherboard which was covered in paint, and allegedly the reason why it wasn't working, so when I went to collect it, he didn't seem too sure that it would actually work. But in my mind, I think it will, as it didn't seem to be covering any of the important traces. It also came with a Pentium D 945, which is in a really shitty state. It seemed to be growing mould and had some dodgy greeny grey thermal paste stuck around it. I'm going to guess that this part had been left in the garage. As well as this, we got the graphics card, which I think is an Ati Radeon X1550. And it has a weird circular cooler on it and was rather difficult to track down online, but I think I saw a picture of it on a dodgy old forum, so I think it's the X1550. 2GB of actually quite nice DDR2 was included with it, which is a bit odd. I'm surprised he didn't want to keep those. It's not a high frequency, but due to the fact that we have 2GB of it, I'd say that was 75p well spent. The next set of parts included a hard drive and a power supply unit, which were being thrown away, so I just took them from someone else's bin. The power supply unit supports up to 200 watts of continuous power and is from a company called PowerX, who, when I actually googled, were a rather old Korean company who apparently made some okay-ish power supplies back in the day. I mean, it's a good thing that we got it for free, but still, I'm glad that the TDP of our CPU and GPU combined is only 130 watts, so we should be fine. As for the hard disk drive, it looked to be in okay shape and was a Western Digital IDE drive. It has a capacity of 80GB, so it's more than enough for our build storage-wise, but if it's been dropped or any damage has been done to it, it could slow it down or compromise any of our data. And finally, we have to round off our little build, the case, which is an original Xbox console that we're going to gut out and use for our nice little case. And with that all tallied up to 75p, let's get on with today's build. We began by stripping out the Xbox's internal components, as well we don't really need them and they don't work due to that faulty GPU, but don't worry, I will keep them to one side for a later date. And well, after that was out, you can tell that these parts aren't going to fit in this case by themselves, so evidently we had to make a few modifications. So with the help of two more people, including Dan the cameraman, we got to work sawing the poor thing into a better shape to work with. After this was done, we moved on to actually building the PC. It's a standard LGA 775 setup, so that all went as expected in terms of fitting the CPU, adding the thermal paste and putting on the quite nice cooler onto the motherboard. We had a little trouble with the back plate that goes on underneath the motherboard in order to fit the cooler, but in the end that was fine. The RAM just clips in and the nice minimalistic shroud makes it look quite premium. Now came fitting all the components such as the motherboard, GPU and hard drive into the little case, and with a bit of a squeeze we got it done. And now, with the top put on and the PC all finished, let's take a look at how it actually turned out. For around 75p and far too much effort, we managed to get a Pentium D 945, 2GB of DDR2 667MHz RAM, an Ati Radeon X1550 complete with 80GB of storage. Definitely not too shabby for the price, but now it's time to take it inside and see if it actually works. So with that all updated, installed and configured, we now know that it works. But how well? Up first we have general working tasks, which the PC was great for. The Pentium D did choke a little under heavy load, but even then it was only for a few seconds, so nothing really much to worry about. The X1550 could render in all things on a 1080p screen with no slowdowns or lag. As for YouTube, we used the H.264 extension, which worked out fine, although ultimately full HD video playback was a bit of an issue, probably due to that CPU and GPU combo being a tad too weak. Simpler 720p videos and 480p content on the other hand though, was fine. Moving on to gaming, we have Counter-Strike sourced with high and medium settings in the 720p resolution. It ran at a nice 40 FPS average in the benchmark and only ever dipped down to 17 FPS in the most intensive parts. In game you'd likely see well over 60 FPS as the game's benchmark is very intensive compared to a standard Counter-Strike game. As for simpler 2D titles, we have RimWorld in the 720p resolution, which ran at a constant 18 FPS. I mean, sure, the game is slower paced, so if you really wanted to, you could sit through and play this, but ultimately we're lacking the power for these newer titles. Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, a rather intensive game, ran okay in the 720p resolution with all the options turned down to low. When there were a lot of lighting effects going on, such as night vision, the game could drop down to a rather subpar 24 FPS, but inside the concealed levels of the game, we saw our average equate to around 30 FPS. Following this, we have Far Cry running with the medium settings in the 720p resolution, which looked great, and the average of 33 FPS was way more than playable. Windows not straying too far from this with lows down to 27 FPS. For the crisis of the early 2000s, this performance was great. As for recording, well, 480p was possible with a 3500 bitrate at 30 FPS. Setting this much higher would either cause stuttering or abysmal game performance, so I mean it's definitely not bad. But the most advanced 3D game you were able to record and play on this machine was Half-Life 2, but for 75p I'm not going to complain. But if you can capture gameplay, can you edit it? To test this I fired up Sony Vegas and started to mess around with a 720p clip from CSGO. And you know that Pentium D? It could handle it fairly well. The two cores, although being of terrible design, are more than enough to power through some light editing. And finally, didn't I say this was a £1 build? Well, here we have a LabTech webcam that I bought from Kex for 25p. It's more of an optional part, but we may as well throw it in anyway to round it up to £1. It supports manual focusing, and well, that's about all the special features it has. It has 480p video capture and a built-in microphone, which sounds, well, like this. Testing of this crappy microphone, which is probably going to sound absolutely awful. Still better than a lot of CSGO players if I'm honest. So there we have it, the cheapest PC build that I've ever done. And am I going to give you a conclusion for it? Well, no. The PC worked and it was a miracle at that, so I'm not going to ridicule it for what it can or cannot do. Although it couldn't run Crysis, believe me, I tried and it just wouldn't work, it wouldn't even install. This is more of a thank you to all you subscribers who have supported me so far. Within over 4 months we've just shot past 1k and are virtually at 2,000 subs. And I'd like to give a special thank you to all our patrons, Alex, Adam and Stephen, who have helped fund the channel so far. Not to mention all the other YouTubers such as RetroTech100, Icebergs and The Game Show, as well as all the other early subscribers on the channel who helped give inspiration to the creation of content for the channel. Thanks to each and every one of you subs who has helped make all this possible. Thank you very much for watching this video. Good night! Now I will be away from the country for the next week, so uploads may be a little bit slow, but you can always catch me on Twitter for some updates. As for content, there's a collab coming up with the channel Tech Throwdown coming later on, so please do stick around for that.
Fuck's sake.